I've been stuck in this cabin for 4 days. The storm hit on Christmas Eve. A historic blizzard, they said on the radio. Before the power lines snapped. Story 1. The snow is already up to the first floor windows, 10 feet deep, maybe 12. Nothing can move out there. No cars, no rescue teams. The silence is so heavy. It feels like pressure on your eardrums. But then, 2 nights ago, I heard it. A rumble, deep and rhythmic. And that specific sound, metal scraping against ice. Scrape, scrape. It was the county snowplow. I almost cried with relief. I thought, thank God, they're clearing the roads. I can get out. I ran to the window. Through the frosted glass, I saw the amber flashing lights. Orange, spinning, rhythmically lighting up the falling snow. It was about a mile down the valley. I grabbed my flashlight and waved. I screamed until my throat tasted like blood. But the plow didn't stop. It just kept scraping, moving slow. I thought, okay, they'll come back for me tomorrow. I was wrong. Yesterday the sound came back, but something was off. I used to drive trucks. I know engines. Engines have a rhythm. Pistons firing, gears shifting. The sound outside didn't have a rhythm. It was mimicking a rhythm. The rumble wasn't mechanical. It sounded like a giant throat, growling low. And the scraping? It wasn't metal on asphalt. It sounded like wet bone grinding against the ice. Heavy, wet, wrong. I went to the upstairs window to get a better look. The amber lights were there again, spinning. But they weren't on top of a truck cab. They were floating. 2 orange, glowing orbs, suspended in the dark, 10 feet off the ground. And they weren't spinning. They were blinking, independently, like eyes. That's when I realized. The road isn't there anymore. The road is buried under 12 feet of snow. A plow needs a road to drive on. This thing was walking on top of the snow. It's outside right now. It's standing on my porch. I can hear the wood creaking under its weight. It must weigh a ton. I locked the door. I boarded up the windows with furniture. But it knows I'm here. It can hear me sick. It can hear my heart beating. It's trying to trick me. Listen. It sounds like a recording played backwards. It stole that voice, just like it stole the lights. It evolves. It learns what we trust. And it wears it like a skin. It knows that in a storm, people pray for the plow. People run towards the plow. It's not clearing the snow. It's harvesting. I have a shotgun. 1 shell left. But I don't think bullets will hurt something that mimics steel. It's scraping at the door now. The same rhythm. Scrape, scrape. If you see the lights, don't wave. Just pray the cold takes you before it does. Story 2. California's Rotting Paradise. I drove to the Salton Sea on a Thursday in late August. The temperature outside reached 112 degrees. I'm a real estate photographer. My job is to make abandoned places look interesting for investment portfolios. The client wanted images of the old Salton Riviera, a resort town built in the 50s when this place was called the California Riviera. Back then, celebrities came here. Frank Sinatra, the Beach Boys. Yacht clubs lined the shore. Now it's a ghost town beside a dying sea. The smell hit me 2 miles before I saw the water. Sulfur and rot. dead fish baking on the sand. The Salton Sea has no outlet, just evaporation. Every year the salt concentration increases. Nothing survives in it anymore except bacteria that turn the water strange colors. I parked near the old North Shore Beach and Yacht Club. The building still stood, barely. White paint peeled from the walls in long strips. Someone had spray painted "Welcome to Paradise" across the entrance in faded pink letters. I stepped out of the car. The heat wrapped around me like a wet towel, but there was something else too. A smell underneath the rot, something almost sweet, like old perfume mixed with gasoline. The air felt thick, sticky, wrong. I walked toward the beach. The shore wasn't sand. It was fish bones. Millions of them. They crunched under my boots, a carpet of tiny skeletons bleached white by the sun. Tilapia. They died during algae blooms, suffocated when the oxygen disappeared from the water. That's when I noticed I was smiling. I wasn't happy, but my face had arranged itself into a smile anyway. My cheeks hurt from it. I touched my mouth and felt the stretched skin, the exposed teeth. I tried to stop. I couldn't. The yacht club doors hung open. I went inside. The lobby was full of furniture from another era. Rotten couches, a reception desk with a bell still sitting on top. Faded photographs on the walls showed families in swimsuits, children with ice cream cones, couples dancing under strings of lights. I raised my camera and took a photo of the reception desk. Through the viewfinder, I saw something move behind it. Just a shadow. Quick. Hello? My voice sounded cheerful, bright, like a game show host. I didn't mean it to. No answer. Just the wind whistling through broken windows. I walked deeper into the building. The hallway leading to the pool deck smelled stronger here. That sweet perfume gasoline smell. It made my eyes water, made my head feel light, fuzzy. But I kept smiling. The pool was still full of water. Brown water, thick like syrup. Things floated in it. I didn't look too closely. Someone had set up lawn chairs around the pool, arranged in a circle, facing inward. The chairs looked new, clean, no dust on them. Then I heard the music, big band music, trumpets and drums, the kind of music they played here in the 50s. It sounded far away, like it was coming through water, or through walls, or through time. I followed it down another hallway, past rooms with numbers on the doors. The paint on the walls was blistered, forming patterns that almost looked like faces. Melting faces, watching me. My smile stretched wider. The music led me to the ballroom. Double doors, one hanging off its hinges. Inside, the ceiling had partially collapsed. But someone had cleared a space in the center, swept it clean, and there were footprints in the dust. Fresh ones, bare feet, small like a child's. They formed a pattern, dancing steps, round and round in circles. The music stopped. In the silence, I heard breathing. Not mine, someone else's, slow and wet, coming from the corner of the room, behind a pile of debris. I should have left, I know that now. But the air here was so thick, so sweet. My thoughts moved like honey. Slow, sticky, happy thoughts. Everything was fine, everything was wonderful. I walked toward the corner.
It's okay, I'm just taking pictures.
My voice sounded like a radio commercial. Enthusiastic, trustworthy. The breathing stopped. Something stood up behind the debris, tall, Too tall. Its head brushed the ceiling. It was the color of the salted seawater, that sick green-brown. Its skin looked wet, slick. But it was wearing clothes. Old clothes. A bellhop uniform from the 50s. Red jacket with gold buttons. White gloves on hands that had too many fingers. It turned toward me. Where its face should have been, there was just water. Moving water, like looking through a window into the sea. Things swam in it, small silver shapes. I took a photo. The flash went off, bright white light. The thing made a sound, not angry, not scared. It sounded happy, delighted, like a child seeing fireworks. The water face rippled with movement. Then it started walking toward me. Not fast, not slow, just walking. Its two long legs bent at wrong angles. The wet footprints it left behind smelled like that sweet perfume, that thick, sticky smell that made my thoughts slow down. I was still smiling. I backed toward the door. The thing kept coming. It reached out with those gloved hands, too many fingers spreading wide, reaching for my camera, or for my face. I couldn't tell which. The music started again, louder now. The trumpet screamed. I ran, down the hallway, past the pool with its circle of clean lawn chairs, through the lobby, out the doors. The fish bones crunched under my boots. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. My face still hurt from smiling. I looked back at the yacht club. In one of the windows on the second floor, something moved. A figure, watching me. It raised one hand, waved, friendly, like a host saying goodbye to a guest. I drove away from the Salton Sea. The smell clung to my clothes, my hair, my skin. It took 3 hours to reach the highway. 3 hours of desert and heat, and that sweet smell trapped in the car with me. I couldn't stop smiling the entire time. I'm home now. 2 weeks have passed. I developed the photos from that day. Most of them came out fine. The photo I took in the ballroom is different. It shows the corner where I saw the thing. But the thing isn't in the picture. Instead, there's a family. A man, a woman, 2 children. They're dressed in 50s clothing, swimsuits. They're smiling, posed, perfect. But their faces are wet. Water runs down their cheeks like tears. And if you look closely, really closely, you can see things swimming behind their eyes. Small silver shapes, moving. I printed the photo, framed it, hung it on my wall. Sometimes, late at night, I hear music coming from it. Big band music, trumpets and drums. And sometimes I smell that sweet perfume smell. My face hurts. I'm smiling right now. I can't seem to stop. I think I'll drive back to the Salton Sea soon. Maybe next Thursday. The weather will be beautiful. The water will be perfect. Everything there is so wonderful. So happy. So absolutely perfect. Story 3. The Westfield Incident. The Westfield Commons died on a Tuesday in March 2009, and no one came to the funeral. The fountain in the central atrium, where teenagers threw pennies and made wishes about college acceptances and first kisses, was drained by August, leaving only a ring of mineral deposits like the ghost of all that hope crystallized into calcium. By winter, the second floor went dark. Now, in 2019, the only light comes from Mike Carver's flashlight. And even that feels like an intrusion the building merely tolerates. the way a body tolerates a foreign object just before rejection begins. The beam cuts through darkness that has weight and texture, illuminating things in fragments. The chrome edge of a railing, a triangle of floor tile, the corner of a for lease sign, whose number no one has called in 6 years. Mike's boots echo against tile until it seems like there are dozens of footsteps. A phantom security team making rounds through a building that stopped mattering long ago.
Section C, second floor, 11:47 p.m. All clear.
His voice goes out into the dark and doesn't come back quite right. Comes back with a quality like it's been handled by something, turned over and examined before being returned slightly changed. The radio crackles empty static. No one has been on the other end for 4 months. But Mike keys the mic anyway, because the alternative is silence. And the silence in the Westfield Commons is not the absence of sound, but the presence of something else. Something patient. The escalators have been dead since 2011. Their rubber handrails tacky with age and dust. But if you stand at the base and put your palm flat against the metal, you can feel a vibration, a low-frequency hum like the building's pulse, like something deep in the infrastructure refuses to stop, even though the power was cut years ago. Mike does this now, feels that impossible tremor traveling up through his arm, and thinks about how it's become a ritual he can't explain. How checking for the hum has become as important as checking the locks. The food court opens before him like a cathedral of failed commerce. His flashlight sweeps across ghost signage. Charlie's Philly Steaks, where the neon tubing still spells out cheese in dead red glass. Sbarro, with its mural of the Italian countryside, faded to the color of old bruises. Orange Julius, Cinnabon. Names that sound archaeological now, relics from an American Pompeii where the volcano was simply time and changing shopping habits. The tables are still bolted to the floor, and Mike sees the same styrofoam cup sitting on the same table in the same position it's occupied for 7 months. He knows that he's never touched it, that no one has been in this building except him. But sometimes the cup is fuller than it should be. Sometimes the liquid inside catches his flashlight with a surface tension that suggests that it was poured recently, impossibly recently. The air has a temperature independent of seasons, a steady 58 degrees that makes his breath visible even though it's July outside, even though the world beyond the chain glass doors is cooking in summer heat. Mike pulls his jacket tighter and feels the cold working into his bones the way it does every night, the way it's been doing for 7 months since he took this job after Sarah left and took Emma to Portland and started a life with a man whose hands don't smell like industrial degreaser and loneliness. He doesn't blame her. Mike was already disappearing before she left. Already becoming the kind of transparent person who takes a job guarding a dead building for $12 an hour because at least the dead building doesn't expect anything from him, doesn't require him to be present or engaged or even particularly human. His flashlight beam travels across darkened storefronts, security gates pulled down like eyelids over empty sockets. The Gap, Victoria's Secret. Behind each gate, merchandise remains on shelves no one will ever shop again. Clothes that will hang in the dark until the fabric rots or the building collapses. Mike has the master key that opens every gate, every door, every locked space in the Westfield Commons. But he never uses it because there's an understanding between him and the building. He'll walk the perimeter. He'll check the external doors. He'll maintain the comfortable fiction that security exists. And in return, the building won't make him look too closely at what's happening in the spaces where his flashlight doesn't reach. But tonight, something feels different, feels charged. When Mike passes the old gap on the corner before the cinema wing, he hears it. Voices. Not one or two, but dozens, maybe hundreds. That low murmuring frequency of crowd noise, of collective human presence. The specific acoustic signature of a Saturday afternoon in 1998, when this mall was alive, and Mike was 17 and working at the Sam Goody, and everything was ahead of him still, all those possible futures that narrowed and narrowed until they funneled down to this. A man alone in the dark, listening to ghosts shop.
Hello? Security?
The voice is cut off like someone threw a switch, and the silence that rushes in is worse than the sound, is hungry and aware. Mike's flashlight beam shakes as he sweeps it across the Gap's security gate, and for just a fraction of a second, maybe less, maybe just the space between heartbeats, he sees them. Figures behind the metal lattice. Shapes that might be mannequins, or might be something else. Something with proportions that don't resolve into human geometry. With joints that articulate in directions that shouldn't be possible. He forces his legs to move. Forces himself past the Gap. Past the Victoria's Secret, where the lingerie mannequins stand in their darkened window. He makes the mistake of looking, makes the mistake of letting his flashlight linger just a moment too long. Their poses are different. He's certain they're different. The one in front had her arm raised yesterday, reaching up like she was adjusting a strap. But now her arm is down, and her head is turned, and her plastic eyes are pointed directly at the place where Mike is standing. And the expression molded into her face, the universal blankness of retail mannequins, suddenly seems less blank than waiting, less serene than patient. Mike walks faster now, his breath coming quick and shallow, that styrofoam cup taste of adrenaline flooding his mouth. Past the Foot Locker where he swears he can still smell leather even though the inventory was cleared in 2012. Past the bookstore, past the vitamin shop, until finally he reaches the entrance to the Westfield Cinema. And the doors, the heavy glass doors he personally chained shut at the beginning of his shift, are standing open, propped wide like an invitation, like a mouth. The cinema lobby swallows him. Mike's flashlight cuts through darkness that seems thicker here, more resistant to illumination. The concession stand hulks against the far wall, its plexiglass candy displays still full of boxes that expired a decade ago. Junior Mints and Milk Duds and Sour Patch Kids that have probably fossilized into inedible bricks. The popcorn machine sits dormant. But Mike catches a smell. Fresh popcorn. Impossible fresh popcorn. That specific salt butter warmth smell. And his stomach turns because he knows that machine hasn't run since the Obama administration. That's when he sees them. 6 mannequins arranged in a line at the concession stand, positioned exactly like customers waiting to order. They're the old ones from Macy's, the expensive kind with molded hair and realistic facial features. And someone has dressed them in clothes from the 1990s. Baggy jeans, flannel shirts, choker necklaces, a starter jacket. Their heads are all turned the same direction, all angled toward the lobby entrance, toward Mike. And their plastic faces catch his flashlight beam and reflect it back with a dull sheen that looks almost wet, almost alive.
Jesus Christ.
His voice comes out strangled, and the mannequins don't move. Of course they don't move. They're plastic, they're objects. But Mike would swear, would testify in court, that they're standing differently than when his light first touched them, that the space between them has decreased by inches, that they've shuffled forward in that fragment of a second when he blinked. Then he sees the light spilling from Theater 7, that unmistakable quality of projector light, cold and flickering and wrong. Mike's hands are numb now, his fingers barely able to grip the flashlight, but his feet carry him forward anyway, because he's been walking toward this moment for 7 months. Maybe longer, maybe his entire life has been a slow walk toward this darkened theater where something has been waiting to show him the truth. The theater is empty. Row after row of seats facing a screen that glows with black and white footage. And on that screen is Mike. Not Mike now, Mike 10 years ago. His face still young, still full. His eyes not yet marked by the particular exhaustion that never washes off. The footage has the grain of old Super 8 film, and it shows Emma's 6th birthday party, shows Sarah smiling behind a cake shaped like a princess castle, shows Mike lifting Emma onto his shoulders while she shrieks with joy, shows a version of his life that might as well be from another dimension. Mike stands frozen in the aisle, his flashlight hanging loose and forgotten at his side, and he watches himself on the screen. Christmas morning. Emma tearing into presents, Sarah's hand in his. Then the footage shifts, becomes darker. Mike alone in their apartment after Sarah left, sitting on the couch in his underwear at 3 a.m, eating cereal out of the box. Mike filling out the application for this security job. Mike walking these same corridors night after night, his posture becoming more hunched, his movements more automatic, more ghost-like.
Turn it off, please.
But the footage continues, and now it's showing tonight, showing Mike from an angle that shouldn't exist, showing him entering this theater, standing in this exact spot. Mike understands with a clarity that feels like drowning that he never left. That the Mike who thinks he clocks out at 6 a.m. and drives home to his studio apartment is the dream, the comfortable lie. And this Mike standing in the theater watching footage of his own dissolution, this is the real one. This is the Mike who never left the Westfield Commons, who's been walking these corridors in an endless loop since that first night 7 months ago, when something in the building recognized him as kindred, recognized another thing that had stopped living but hadn't quite managed to die. The screen goes to static, then black. The projector clicks off with a sound like a door closing. Mike stands in the dark with only his flashlight, and he thinks about running, thinks about smashing through those chained glass doors and out into whatever July night exists beyond. But his body knows what his mind is still trying to reject. There is no beyond. There is only this. The eternal round, the watching mannequins, the phantom crowds, the footage of a life that belongs to someone else now.
Section C, second floor, 11:47 p.m. All clear.
His voice sounds steady now, sounds practiced. And Mike begins walking back toward the food court, back toward the beginning of the route he'll walk tonight and tomorrow night and every night forever in the Westfield Commons, where escalators hum with impossible electricity, where mannequins rearrange themselves in the spaces between light, where the cinema plays endless loops of lives that could have been, where men become indistinguishable from the emptiness they guard. The mall died on a Tuesday in March 2009. But some things don't stay dead. Some things linger in the fluorescent dusk, walking their rounds, checking their locks, speaking into radios that no one answers, forever. Story 4. The Purgatory of Exit 308.
In 2 miles, take exit 308.
Exit 305. then 306, then 309, no 308. The last thing I remember before exit 308 is the taste of truck stop coffee. Burnt, metallic, like licking a battery. That was 4 hours ago, maybe 5.
Recalculating.
Peachy. I laugh, a sound too loud in the cab, and crack my window. Cold air pours in, smelling like diesel and sage. The kind of night where the desert feels like it's watching you drive. 10 minutes later, it happens again.
In 2 miles, take exit 308.
My hands tighten on the wheel. I'm not tired. I'm not drunk. I passed one car an hour ago, a semi with no license plate that didn't wave back. Other than that, nothing. Just me in the center line and the stars that look too close, like they're leaning in to listen. Exit 307. Exit 309. No 308. I check my phone. No signal. The map app shows a gray line where I'm driving. No exits labeled at all. Just a vein across the desert.
In 2 miles, take exit 308.
This time, my voice cracks when I whisper, "There is no exit 308. But there is. Because when I look up, it's right there, half a mile ahead. A green sign illuminated by my high beams, its reflective paint too bright, too new. The letters don't look printed. They look carved, deep, angry. Exit 308. Last chance. I don't slow down. I punch the gas. The engine roars. The speedometer climbs. 80, 90, 100. But the exit sign doesn't fall behind. It stays exactly half a mile ahead. Like it's tethered to my windshield, like it's reeling me in. And that's when I see it in my rearview mirror. Another exit 308 sign, behind me, where I just was. The road is eating itself. I slam the brakes, the tires scream, rubber burns, and the car fishtails across both lanes before jerking to a stop sideways on the asphalt. My headlights cut across empty desert. My breath fogs the windshield. Silence. Not the normal kind. The kind where even the engine seems afraid to idle too loud. I check the rear view. The sign behind me is gone. I check ahead. Also gone. Just darkness and the white dashes of the center line stretching into nothing. My phone buzzes. I nearly drop it. No signal, remember? But there it is. A notification. A text message. Unknown number. You passed me in 1994. My stomach drops into my shoes. I stare at the screen until the words blur. 1994. 30 years ago. I was 19. Driving this same route in my dad's Buick, drunk on cheap beer and immortality, racing to make it to Vegas before sunrise. I don't remember passing anyone.
In 500 feet, take exit 308.
My head snaps up. The sign is back, right there, 200 feet ahead now, not half a mile. And it's wrong. The metal is rusted, bent, bullet-holed, like it's been standing in the desert for decades. I throw the car into reverse. The transmission whines. I floor it backward, watching the sign in my headlights, waiting for it to shrink, to disappear. It doesn't. It gets closer. No, no, no. I spin the wheel, crank the car forward, and gun it in the opposite direction. The speedometer needle climbs, 70, 85, 110. The desert blurs into black ink on both sides. Wind screams through the cracked window. 1 minute passes. 2. Then I see it. Exit 308. Ahead of me. Again. But this time, there's something else. A car. Pulled onto the shoulder just past the exit ramp. Hazard lights blinking slow, lazy, like a dying heartbeat. It's a Buick, boxing, primer gray, 1990s vintage. My Buick. What the I ease off the gas. The car coasts. Every instinct in my body is screaming to keep driving, to blow past this, to pretend I didn't see it. But my foot finds the brake. The car slows, stops. I'm 20 feet from the Buick now. Close enough to see the license plate. Arizona, 1994 registration sticker. Close enough to see the driver's side door is open. Close enough to see the blood on the window.
You have arrived at your destination.
I cut the engine. The silence rushes back in, thicker now, wet like it's pooling in my lungs. I step out. Gravel crunches under my boots. The air smells wrong, copper and gasoline and something sweet, like roadkill left in the sun. I walk toward the Buick. My Buick. The one I sold in 1995 after I got back from Vegas. The one I never saw again. The driver's seat is empty, but the passenger seat isn't. There's a girl, slumped against the door. Her skin is pale blue, preserved perfectly by the dry desert air for 30 years. Her eyes are open, staring at the rearview mirror, waiting for help that never came. It's her. The girl I passed. And on the dashboard, held down by an empty beer bottle, is a note. Handwritten. My handwriting.
You saw my hand. I know you saw it. You looked right at me in the mirror, and then you turned up the radio. You left me to bleed out in the dark, Garrett. Now you get to stay in the dark with us forever.
I stagger backward. My boot catches on something. I look down. Tire tracks, fresh. Leading from my car to the Buick. Leading from 2024 to 1994. And behind me, I hear it. Footsteps on gravel, getting closer. I don't turn around. If I turn around, it becomes real. The footsteps stop, right behind me. Close enough that I can hear breathing, wet, labored, like lungs full of desert dust and 30 years of waiting.
You remember now?
I do. God help me, I do. Mile marker 287. A car in the ditch, headlights pointing at the sky like searchlights. A hand reaching out from the driver's window, pale, desperate, waving me down. I was doing 90. Drunk, invincible. I saw it for maybe 3 seconds. And I kept driving. I told myself I'd call it in at the next town. I told myself someone else would stop. There was no next town for 60 miles. And by then, I'd convinced myself I imagined it.
Her name was Claire, 22. Nursing student, flat tire. No cell signal. You were the 5th car to pass her. But you were the last one before the artery in her leg gave out.
My knees buckle. I catch myself on the hood of the Buick. The metal is cold. Too cold for a desert night.
The road remembers, Garrett. Every mile you ran. Every mile you thought you escaped.
I force myself to turn. He's me. 19 years old. Flannel shirt soaked black with blood that isn't his. Eyes hollow, skin gray. Behind him, the desert isn't empty anymore. There are others. Dozens, hundreds, standing in the dark beyond my headlights, all watching, all waiting. Some in old clothes, some in new, all with the same expression. You didn't stop. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
You knew.
He steps closer. His hand reaches out. The same way Claire's must have. 30 years ago on this same stretch of road.
Exit 308 doesn't exist on any map. But it exists here. For people like you. The ones who kept driving.
My vision blurs. The desert tilts. I feel hands on my shoulders, cold. Too many, pulling me backward toward the passenger seat, still warm with my own corpse. Please.
You stopped now.
The last thing I see before the darkness swallows me whole is my rental car. Engine still running. Door open. Headlights cutting across the sign. Exit 308. No services. And underneath, in fresh red spray paint, population, one more. If you're driving Route 66 tonight, and your GPS tells you to take exit 308, don't. But you will. We all do, eventually. Story 5. The Paradox. The coffee tastes like rust and regret. I haven't slept in 14 hours. The highway from Denver to Chicago is a black tongue licking through the Midwest. And somewhere around the Iowa border, my eyelids started to feel like they were made of wet concrete. So I pulled off at exit 76. One of those places that only exists because someone needed to take a piss in 1987. The fluorescent lights inside the gas station hum like a wasp trapped in a jar. I grab a Red Bull, maybe some beef jerky, the usual poison. The cashier, mid-50s, thinning hair, eyes like burnt coffee grounds. He looks up at me and smiles. Not the polite customer service smile. Something warmer. Something familiar.
Long drive tonight, huh, Donald?
The name hits me like a slap. Donald. My name is not Donald. It's Jacob. Jacob Reese, 32 years old. Marketing consultant. Divorced 6 months ago. I know who I am, but this man, this stranger behind plexiglass and lottery tickets, he said it like he's known me for years. Sorry. He chuckles. Soft, almost paternal.
You look tired, Donald. Roads will do that to you. That'll be $8.50.
I hand him a 10. My hand is shaking, and I don't know why. He gives me change. His fingers are cold. There's a name tag on his chest. Donald, printed in blocky black letters. I stare at it too long. Your name is Donald, too? He tilts his head, like I've said something strange.
Sure is. Funny coincidence, right?
No, not funny, not even close. I take my change and walk out. The air outside is thick, humid, wrong for October. The parking lot is empty except for my car and a semi-truck with no driver. The streetlights flicker in rhythm, on, off, like a heartbeat with arrhythmia. I get in my car, lock the doors. My reflection stares back at me from the rearview mirror. Same face, same scar above my left eyebrow from when I was 9 and fell off a bike. Same crooked nose from the time Sarah slammed the car door into my face during our last fight. I'm Jacob Reese, I know I am. But when I pull back onto the highway, the radio crackles to life. Some oldies station I didn't turn on, and the DJ's voice is smooth, syrupy, wrong.
This one goes out to all you night drivers. Stay safe out there, Donald.
I punch the power button. Silence. Except it's not silent. There's a low hum beneath everything, like the road itself is breathing. 20 minutes later, I see the diner. Mabel's. Red neon. Looks like it crawled out of a David Lynch fever dream. I shouldn't stop. I should keep driving. But my hands turn the wheel anyway, and I pull into the gravel lot. Inside, it smells like burnt toast and old grease. There are 3 people: a waitress, an old man in a booth, and a trucker at the counter. They all look up when I walk in, and they all smile. She's holding a pot of coffee. Her name tag says Donald.
Hey there, Donald. Usual spot?
My throat tightens. I've never been here before. She laughs, light, musical, insane.
Oh, stop. You're here every Thursday. Sit down, hun.
It's not Thursday. It's Tuesday. I look at the old man. His name tag, Donald, the trucker. Same thing. Donald. I back toward the door, but the waitress is already pouring coffee into a mug at the counter. Steam rises like a ghost.
You okay, Donald? You look pale.
I run. I don't remember getting back to my car, but suddenly I'm inside. Engine roaring, tires spitting gravel. The diner shrinks in my rearview mirror, but the faces in the window don't move. They just watch. Smiling, I drive. Fast. Too fast. The highway stretches ahead like a wound, and then I see it. A billboard. Huge. Lit by a single spotlight in the middle of nowhere. Welcome home, Donald. My foot slams the brake. The car skids. My chest is a drum. My lungs are collapsing. I pull out my wallet with shaking hands. Driver's license. I need to see it. I need proof. I flip it open. The photo is me. Same face, same crooked nose. But the name printed beneath it. Donald Reese. I pull over. The car idles on the shoulder like a dying animal. My hands won't stop shaking. I stare at the license, at that name, Donald Reese, and wait for it to change back. Wait for reality to snap into place like a dislocated bone. It doesn't. I flip to my credit cards. Donald Reese, insurance card. Donald Reese, a crumpled receipt from 3 days ago. Coffee shop in Boulder. Thanks for your visit, Donald. With a smiley face drawn in Sharpie. My phone. I grab my phone. Contacts. Mom, Dad, Sarah. I call Sarah, my ex-wife. The woman who screamed my name, Jacob, 1,000 times. In love, in anger. In that final, ugly silence before she left. It rings 4 times. Her voice is small, sleepy.
Donald, stay with us. Don't close your eyes.
The phone slips from my hand. Hits the floor. I can hear her voice, tinny and distant, still talking.
Donald, are you there? Is everything okay?
I hang up. No, not hang up. I crush the phone against the dashboard until the screen spiders with cracks. Breathe, breathe, think. This is a prank, some elaborate, cruel joke. Maybe Sarah put people up to this. Maybe I'm having a breakdown. Maybe the divorce, the insomnia, the endless driving. Maybe it broke something inside my skull and now I'm seeing things. But you don't see a name on a driver's license. You don't hallucinate plastic and ink. I look up. There's someone standing in the road, illuminated by my headlights. A man, wearing a jacket. He's facing away from me, but I can see the back of his head. Dark hair, my height, my build. He turns. His face. It's my face. Same scar, same nose, same exhausted eyes. But he's smiling. His voice is mine. Exactly mine.
You're late, Donald.
I throw the car into reverse. Tires scream. I don't look back. I can't. Because in the rearview mirror, I see him, me, standing in the middle of the road, waving. Not frantic, not urgent, casual, like he's saying goodbye to an old friend. I drive until the road curves, until he's swallowed by darkness. My heart is a fist punching my ribs from the inside. The GPS flickers on. I didn't turn it on.
In 500 feet, turn right onto Maple Street.
Maple Street. That's my street. In Chicago. I'm still 4 hours away.
You have arrived at your destination.
I look up. I'm parked in front of a house. My house. But I sold it 3 months ago. After the divorce, signed the papers. Watched the new owners move in. The porch light is on. And in the window, someone's shadow moves. Waiting. I should drive away, but my legs are moving. Door open, gravel crunching under my feet. The air smells like cut grass and something else, something chemical, sweet, like formaldehyde. The front door is unlocked. Inside, everything is exactly as I left it. The couch Sarah picked out, the coffee table with a water ring I never fixed, photos on the wall. But when I look closer, the logic falls apart. Wedding photo, me in a tuxedo, standing next to a bride whose face has been burned out of the paper, leaving only white static. Childhood birthday. 5 versions of me around a cake, all staring at the camera with hollow eyes. My parents. They are holding me, but they are both wearing my face, my scar, my crooked nose, smiling that same frozen smile. What the fuck is this? Voice from the kitchen. Calm, familiar, mine.
You're home, Donald.
I walk toward the kitchen. My hands are numb. He's sitting at the table, the other me, drinking coffee from my favorite mug. He looks comfortable, like he's lived here for years.
You must be exhausted. Sit down.
Who are you? He smiles. Sad. Almost pitying.
I'm Donald. And so are you. And so is everyone you've met tonight.
He takes a sip.
We've been waiting for you to remember.
Remember what? He sets down the mug. Looks at me with my own eyes.
There was an accident. Exit 76. 14 hours ago. You swerved to avoid a deer. Overcorrected. The guardrail?
No.
Your car went into the ditch. You didn't die right away. You sat there, Jacob, Donald, bleeding out, trying to remember who you were, trying to hold on to a name, any name.
My knees buckle. I catch myself on the counter.
But you couldn't. Because there is no Jacob Reese. There never was. That's just the name you grabbed in the dark. A story you told yourself while your brain was shutting down.
He stands, walks toward me.
Donald is what's real. Donald is what's left. All of us. The cashier, the waitress, me. We're all you. Every version of yourself trying to make sense of the end.
I look down at my hands, and there's something dark. Blood. He puts a hand on my shoulder. It feels cold, final.
It's okay to let go now, Donald. Everyone's waiting.
The room begins to dissolve. Walls bleeding into shadows. The photos dripping off the frames like wax. And I hear it. Sirens. Far away. Getting closer. Voices shouting. We need to cut him out. He's not responding. Donald, can you hear me? My voice is a whisper now. My name is Jacob. He shakes his head. Gentle, kind.
No, Donald. It never was.
The sirens stop. The voices stop. And in the silence, I finally remember. My name is Donald Reese. 47 years old. Accountant, divorced. I was driving to see my daughter in Chicago. I never made it. The darkness tastes like rust and regret. And somewhere on a stretch of highway in Iowa, a tow truck pulls a crumpled car from a ditch. The jaws of life tear open the driver's side door. They pull a body from the wreckage. Donald Reese, deceased on impact. But the paramedic pauses. He looks down at the dead man's face. He's smiling. A peaceful, frozen smile amidst the blood and glass. Peachy. Because I'm not in the wreckage anymore. I'm finally home.